Oh, good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's the day of the week, right? It's Tuesday.
I think it's Tuesday.
Awesome. Great. I hit the A's up earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
And the Athletics, the baseball team here in Sacramento. And I said, hey, we want to do this thing on this day or this day. And the person hit me back and was like, do you mean tomorrow? He's like, well, yeah, whatever. Like, put it, fine, sure. So I am back in the studio. Excited to be back in the studio.
Yeah.
There are definite perks of doing a show from home just because I live so far away. So cutting down on the commute, I can get more stuff done around the house. It's easier to lock in for me with show prep because there's not a bunch of stuff going around the office. There's benefits there. Actually doing the show at home is not nearly as fun.
No, it's always better to be here in the office.
Yeah, it's like, imagine a work meeting, but like a fun work meeting. I don't know if those exist, but it's the difference between having a meeting in person versus talking over Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's just, or StreamYard. Salute to StreamYard. So I'm happy to be back in the studio. Salute to you guys for holding it down. I appreciate you both immensely. And of course, I appreciate Jesse Tapia for filling in for James on Friday. Okay. We have a few things to get to. But first, before we get to anything else, and the Kings letting a potential executive of the year walk, letting him leave the building, unbelievable decision-making. While that might have been a poor decision, you know it's not a poor decision? What you got me in Disneyland.
That's right.
Look at these things. They're Stitch Crocs.
They are the coolest Crocs ever.
Look at them. And look at this.
I can't wait to see you go sport mode.
Gonna activate sport mode.
Activate sport mode.
In my Crocs. Lilo and Stitch, the new film, comes out in 17 days.
Oh.
I haven't been to a movie theater since I saw, what did I last see in a movie theater? I know I saw Top Gun Maverick at the movies. Oh, no, Wicked. I went and saw Wicked in the movie theater. Obviously wasn't going to experience that not in the theater, right?
Yeah.
You, for people listening on 1320 AM and 98.5 FM HD2, listening on the radio, James went to Disneyland and got me Stitch Crocs. Like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
They're blue. They're like that light bluish color. They've got a bunch of drawings of Stitch on it with a Stitch patch on top of each foot. If you're not familiar, Stitch is my favorite Disney character. I'm fired up for the movie that's coming out, the live action remake. Looks incredible. Cried at the trailer. I'm a crybaby. That's why I don't have neck tattoos. And I'm dead serious. I so badly want to get a tattoo, like right up here, like on my neck, kind of down behind the ear.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm bald. Like I've got a lot of canvas to work with back there. And I cry at Amazon commercials. I can't have that. That's a tough guy thing. That's a thing where a guy will fight somebody. I'm not going to do that.
No teardrops? You can't even do a teardrop?
Not even close. I've never even punched somebody, much less murdered someone. Like if if you have a neck tattoo, you're the kind of guy that punches first. I'm not. What do you want me to do? Like, what are you going to do? Anyways, thank you so much for these. I'm going to wear them like this isn't a gag gift. Like,
you wear them in your car every day to work. I know.
Legitimately, this is not
because we had the day where you had forgotten your shoes and had to wear your Crocs into the building.
I wore my Crocs. It actually wound up working out okay. Fewer people. I was a little bit afraid of it because we don't there's no formal dress code here. We're working at a sports talk radio station. Right. Like, look at Joe. He looks terrible.
Joe, you look unhomed.
Joe's wearing a Light the Beam t-shirt. He's got a sweet, what is that, Hanu? Hat to match. So
a whole new day. Shout out a whole new day.
A whole new day.
Great,
yeah.
Awesome brand, awesome people.
Awesome.
It's funny.
So you got the matching hat. You look great today.
But we walk in here and there are people everywhere here at the station that are here in business attire because there's like a sales staff and like managers and stuff.
They're doing important business people stuff.
No, but then it's like
we just yap at each other.
You see just in case, high five just in case, and he's wearing his jorts and like you know, like all of the guys here, like all the other radio stations, it's radio t-shirts.
You wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
So it wasn't I felt, because I don't wear my Crocs in here. I wear my Crocs are like a home. I'm out running errands. like just everyday kind of wear. They're not work shoes, or at least they haven't been for me.
Yeah.
Now that I have a couple of pairs, I might just start rocking them.
Those are gonna be your fancy Crocs.
Yeah, these are my dress Crocs.
Your dress Crocs.
Thank you
Now,
so much for those. I'm very, very excited to wear them.
I wear Hey Dudes almost every day in here.
Yes.
And I've done that for like close to a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're so comfortable and easy, and we didn't know it, but Crocs bought Hey Dudes, and so it's like
Same company.
Yeah, they make good,
birds of a feather,
like awesome shoes. I'm here for it.
Yeah, shout out Crocs.
Foot coverings.
We love them so much. I might put these on at a break. I can't wait. NBA Executive of the Year was announced today, and a shocker. An absolute stunner for NBA Executive of the Year was announced. Sam Presti of the Oklahoma City Thunder is the big winner of the NBA Executive of the Year award, because of course he is. Why wouldn't he be?
I don't think he's won it before, has he?
Oh, he's had to have won it before.
No, you think that, but then I don't know that he has.
Not even back in the early Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook era.
I don't know. He's
got to win. I over or under half.
I'm gonna
this year.
I'm gonna look.
I'm looking at Wikipedia right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at Basketball Reference. We'll meet in the middle somewhere.
Never won it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's incredible, especially since
that's insane.
In NBA circles, he's known as the greatest general manager or executive in the league. Like, he's a guy that has built multiple like teams that have gone to the Western Conference Finals. He hasn't won the chip, right? But outside of that, he is an architect of greatness.
And they've had so many rebuilds and teardowns and like diversions in their path where they got Paul George and that didn't work, and so they wind up with SGA out of the Paul George thing. They've had a million picks forever. They've constantly had all this talent. That's crazy to me. He has never won an Executive of the Year. Congratulations to Sam Presti. The bigger news here in Sacramento, though, receiving a vote. 1 second place vote.
A second place vote.
Not even a third place vote.
No.
One Monty Air McNair. Congratulations to former Kings executive Monty McNair. Did Vivek Ranadive make a mistake letting a second place vote getter for Executive of the Year walk out of the building, James?
It's possible, but we have to, what's crazy is Monty McNair won an Executive of the Year before Sam Presti. Because he won it 2 years ago. So, I mean, like, look, Monty did a good job of building a winner. Like, after years and years and years of...
He deserved the heck out of it after the 22-23 season. 100%.
It's really, really difficult because there are so many things that they did well and then so many things that they did poorly. And like finding the middle ground with what happened over a 5-year period, like there was way too much inactivity. There was way too much, like, we talked about it yesterday, the frustrations with like closing off certain aspects to the media that should be open, like the draft process and stuff like that. But overall, I mean, he snapped a 16-year playoff drought,
Yeah. I'm not begrudging Monty McNair for winning the award. It's just more of a shock that Sam Presti, who built a team that had Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook on it and went to the finals, and Serge Ibaka, and went to the finals, didn't win it during that stretch and hasn't won it at any point over the last couple of years, where their ascension has been pretty clear since like that 22-23 season. Like, oh, this is a team on the rise. They're all going the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, it really is incredible to see how they reset their entire franchise like every 4 years.
Yes.
Like they win. And then it's like, okay, this is over. Let's reload. Let's trade Paul George for SGA and a bunch of picks.
Yeah.
And let's start over. And sure enough, here they are, just like on fire again.
Having SGA, and we'll talk more about the Oklahoma City Thunder, just a couple of unbelievable game ones last night.
Yes.
In the second round. And we'll talk a ton about those coming up here. But we just in this Sam Presti conversation, because he just won Executive of the Year. If you're just tuning in to the Insiders, we're live 10 a.m. to noon every single day, by the way, right here on ESPN 1320. That's 1320 a.m. 98.5 FM HD2. YouTube.com/ESPN 1320, Twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. We're on the free Odyssey app. YouTube.com. Nope, already did that. Where we at?
Twitter, X.
Twitter and X. We're live
Yeah.
streaming there.
We're
James,
everywhere.
James Ham and Kyle Madsen show on your podcast feeds.
Everywhere you get
future.
your podcasts.
Anyways, hello from the past. Hope the future's going well. The thing with the Thunder I'm trying to figure out how to say this in the way that's not obvious. Having Shai Gilgeous-Alexander turn into an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the Kings and moves and how they could become contenders, like that's it. Can you fall backwards into an MVP candidate? Like that's when we start talking about like, okay, well, if they're picking in the middle of the lottery and they're doing this and doing that, like, hey man, at some point, that might be what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Because for all the good that Sam Presti has done, I guarantee when they acquired Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they weren't like, hey, this might be the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good scouting,
Mm-hmm.
and but you
Player
also
dev.
you got him in your building and you help develop him.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And that's what they've done such a good job of.
Yep.
I mean, you talked about it the other day, the onslaught of guys that they can just throw at you with their rotations, whether it's SGA or whether it's Lou Dort, who they developed as an undrafted guy into a really, really awesome defensive player and three-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Kenrich Williams will get some burn. The two Jalen Williamses, just unbelievable what Oklahoma City has done. And unbelievable that they somehow lost that game last night.
Absolutely crazy.
Mark Daigneault, buddy, figure it out, almost coach of the year.
Yeah.
Really, really awful job by Oklahoma City closing that game last night. We'll talk about whether that changes the complexion of the top of the West. Speaking of the top of a conference, we had another game in Boston with Boston losing a game they had no business losing. 3 road teams have won to start the second round of the NBA playoffs. Should any of the home teams be worried? Are we seeing a shift at the top of the NBA during these playoffs? We'll talk about that. James Ham's there. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's Joe Brazil. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Short first segment because we got off to a late start today. Had a little bit of a technical glitch. It's fine. 10 a.m. is when we're normally here. But we got to step aside right now. We'll be back in a second talking NBA playoffs on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Center.
So re-examining the July 10th, 2019 trade.
Mm-hmm. This
the
is the
Thunder, traded Paul George to the Los Angeles Clippers for Danilo Gallinari, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a 2021 first-round pick, which became Trey Mann, a 2022 first-round pick, which became Jalen Williams, the good Jalen Williams, a 2023 first-round pick that became Jaime Jaquez, so that pick, of course, had been traded, a 2024 first-round pick, which is Dylan Jones, a 2025 first-round pick, which hasn't been selected yet, a 2025 first-round pick, and a 2026 first-round pick. They still have 2 picks remaining.
Good Lord. And Paul George plays for the Sixers now.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's old and not nearly as good as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Actually, he never reached the heights of Shai that Shai has.
That's so wild.
Yeah. I guess some of these, they're going to be pick swaps. That's what, yeah. Yeah. Poku. That's crazy. Talked about it. And then yeah, it's crazy. But even if you look at how at Leasy, how they handle their business, they turned Giddey into Alex Caruso. And, maybe long term that won't work out 100% for them, but it might because they could win a title or two with Caruso. And that's really all that matters. See the conditional.
I feel so good about my underdog lineup tonight, you guys.
Ooh. When are we doing that?
Coming up at 11:15. I'm going to give you a winner. I had an email exchange with somebody in corporate who, what's up, Joe? I had an email exchange with somebody in corporate that ended with me doing the thing where I said, because I had to record something for him, and I said, here's the thing I did. Let me know if this is okay, or if you would like me to do it this way, this different way. You let me know which one's better, and I can recut the thing. Not a big deal. Let me know.
Mhm.
And they responded with, sounds good. Thanks so much. So do I?
No.
Keep it as is.
That's what I did. I was like, I'm not going to cut another one if you don't explicitly tell me to.
Okay.
Hey, should I do this or this? Sounds good.
Yep. Nope. Keep it exactly how it was.
All right. You got it.
They're saying that it sounded good. They liked it.
All right. Well, good. Tried to tell you guys.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Going to stay on track. I'm not going to get distracted by the chatty house today.
Mm.
I'm going to start a chat I just saw that I have very strong feelings about. And we'll talk about it later because it ties in nicely to a discussion I want to have about all the number ones left in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to rank them. The best player on each team. We're going to rank those players because it feels to me like this is still maybe it's just a trend that will never leave the league, or if this is just how the teams shake out. But it felt on very first glance, like I said, I haven't done a ton of thinking about this because I wanted to talk about it on air. But that if you were ranking the teams based on their title odds, you would probably rank them very similar to the way you might rank the best player on each team. But I haven't decided if that's true or not yet. That's a hypothesis that I would like to work out on the radio. And somebody said something in the chatty house at youtube.com/ESPN 1320 that tied in very nicely to that discussion. But we had a couple of unbelievable basketball games last night.
Yes.
Well, the NBA playoffs in general. So we had 2 Game 7s in the first round. One of them a good game, one of them a not so good game. And then to start the second round, we have all 3 road teams that have played going into the opposing building and winning.
It's wild.
Yeah,
So
the Pacers beat the Cavs.
okay.
Then the Knicks beat the Celtics in overtime, 108-105. Unbelievable. And then the Nuggets beat the Thunder 121-119.
I mean, what is the old adage? Like a playoff series doesn't start until the visiting team wins.
It's my least favorite thing.
I know it is. I know.
My very, very least.
But just so you know, all of the series started.
The second round has begun,
The
guys.
second round has begun, except for one series.
Except for one series, which
that hasn't started yet.
which begins tonight. So we need to start with Nuggets and Thunder because I think Boston just started coasting, and then they got punched in the mouth.
Mhm.
Is how I think that happened. The Nuggets and Thunder, man. There's so much here. I want to start with Mark Dagnall, though. I understand why you want to foul when you're up 3 with a few seconds left. So you're up. I forget the exact score, and I dropped the box score, of course. But you're up 3 with 14 seconds left.
Yeah.
The typical thing you do in that spot is you let the opposing offense try and work for a shot. And after, with 5-6 seconds left, you foul before they can get a shot up.
Mm-hmm.
The extra problem with this is not only did they foul right away, but they did so while Nikola Jokic was on the bench. So, and Denver was out of timeouts. So instead of putting Denver in a spot where they have to create a shot, a game-winning 3 without Nikola Jokic on the court, they fouled immediately. So where are we at? So Jokic made a 3 with 107 left to put the Thunder up by 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's 115-114 Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook misses a 3 with 25 seconds left. Aaron Gordon misses a layup, but gets a shot blocked with 19 seconds left. Alex Caruso gets it. Christian Brown has to foul him. He fouls Shea. Sorry. Ball got to Shea. So there's 13 seconds left. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander makes both free throws. So we have a 3-point lead with 13 seconds left. Denver calls their last timeout. They foul immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So 12 seconds now left. They fouled immediately. Nikola Jokic goes to the line, hits 2. Oklahoma City calls a timeout, up by 1 with 12 seconds left. I promise this is going somewhere. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander gets free for a dunk and throws it down to put Oklahoma City back up 3 with 10 seconds left. Nikola Jokic is not on the court. So Mark Daigneault should be looking at this and going, okay, we're up 3. There's 10 seconds left. They have no timeouts. Their best player and their offensive facilitator is on the bench. We're going to let them run this out. And if they hit a 3, more power to them.
Mm-hmm.
They foul right away. And Aaron Gordon goes to the line, hits the first one. Nikola Jokic checks in. Aaron Gordon hits the second one. Oklahoma City inbounds. Chet Holmgren gets it. Misses both.
That was brutal.
Awful. And you forget that while Oklahoma City was there last year and in the playoffs last year and in the play in the year before that, this is still pretty new to them.
Oh, yeah.
It's not one time to the playoffs and you go. This is not a linear thing. And I think he choked.
Yeah.
I think that word gets overused. Sometimes a guy just misses a 3 or just misses a jumper. When you're on the free throw line, game on the line, and you miss both, that to me says you got a little yippy. And Nuggets get the rebound, get it to Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon drills a 3, and Denver wins the game. The fouling immediately makes no sense to me. I don't understand why they did that.
Yeah, you wonder if it was a player who kind of lost his mind for a second, or if it was an actual, like, intentional thing. Like,
I feel like it, but it's intentional. It has to be, because it happens once. If that's the player losing their mind, because that'll happen.
Yeah.
You lose track of score, time, so much is going on. And you go, oh God, foul. That happens sometimes. Totally. For it to happen again, that to me sounds like game plan.
Yeah.
That to me sounds like as soon as they inbound, foul them, because we don't want them getting a shot up where they go to the line to shoot 3. Like, man, if that happens, it happens. But by fouling immediately, you put yourself in this position where, like, okay, yeah, they have to hit free throws, but now so do you.
Yeah.
Now you are going to have to go to the line. Now you're creating extra possessions for yourself. You're giving them life every time you foul them that early.
Yeah.
The clock is working against them. Why are you making it stop on purpose?
Yeah, I don't get it. But I'll also point out that we talk about how, it's a young team, right?
It is.
And they haven't been here before. But Daigneault hasn't been here before either in these situations. As this thing cranks up and starts to ramp up and become, like, extremely difficult, he's going to be put under the spotlight as much as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't always make the right decisions. And sometimes maybe afterwards they're going to have today off. They'll go through. They may, like, completely rework their game plan. Yeah. Because I know, I mean, even like the Warriors doing the Steven Adams, Hacking Adams guy play, like, that to me felt like they did it all the way through, like, game 5 and game 6. They get to game 7, and it wasn't a huge part of the game.
He was drilling his free throws in game 6. It killed him.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if that's something he changes moving forward. It's not my favorite thing to foul up 3, just from a person watching standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand why teams do it. It's strategically the right move. But it's not the right move when you're fouling right away with 12 seconds left.
Yeah.
That doesn't... Now you're giving them 2 free points, theoretically.
Yeah.
You're sending them to the line to score. And now a swing and a miss by Oklahoma City in game 1. But they controlled that game for the most part until the last few minutes of the fourth quarter. And so I'm really interested to see, is this because with the Pacers game, I think if you're a Cavs fan, you can look at that loss to the Pacers in game one. You can look at that and go, man, they shot 53, 53, 93. Those were their shooting splits.
Oh, wild.
They hit 10 more threes than we did. We had 15 more shots than they did. Statistical anomaly type of game, weird game, we're fine. I think if you are Boston, I think you can look at that the same way. They shot 15 of 60 from three. 12 of 60. They were 25% from three.
Well, that's, yeah.
So they were not good from beyond the arc.
Yeah, but if I'm Boston, I'm a little more concerned than that.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
like watching the Boston game play out, the Boston Knicks game, I felt like they had complete control of the game, right? Like Boston, they're just rolling. Then Porzingis doesn't come out for the second half, right? Or like I think that's how it worked out. He has some sort of mystical illness, which is, again, he had illnesses like a month ago that cost him like 5 or 6 games. So you're watching this play out, but there was like a physicality and force that the Knicks started to play with in the third quarter, and the Celtics weren't ready for it. Like I was literally about to text you, and then I didn't hit send. That, boy, I think the Celtics are in trouble. And then all of a sudden it starts to play out. And then I by the time I text you, it was like 84 or whatever, 86. Like they had caught up. But you could see it building. There was a moment, they're up 16, and you're like, oh no. Yeah. Like just one team is playing at a different level than the other team, and it's not even close. And they started to build on that. I didn't think that the Celtics would crumble. And I think the interesting thing is that you have to remember OKC hasn't been here before. They're learning. They're still that young team that's learning, and we expect them to be like a contender for the championship this year, right? But in order to do that, they are going to have to skip like 1 or 2 steps to get there and to do this, right? But sometimes in the last 5 minutes of a game, you play against, number one, a 3-time MVP, but also a guy who's been all the way and won a chip. So when the game gets all weird and wonky and it's winning time, teams with experience usually win out. And that, to me, is where we watched a Boston Celtics team crumble in that same exact situation, which doesn't make any sense, versus an OKC team that it does make a little bit of sense. Maybe they'll learn from this one and go, all right, we're not doing this, and this, but also, like, look, man, hit your free throws. You know, like this is big. Like, it just, everybody take a deep breath and let's get better and let's move forward. Right. So it's tough, but at the end of the day, I think we watched like some really, really high level basketball.
That's I think the key thing.
Yeah.
Is I don't think, outside of the Thunder losing their minds with their fouling late, I didn't think they played bad. No. I thought Jokic was awesome. It isn't a great sign for Oklahoma City that the trio of Jokic, Brown, and Gordon out-rebounded the Thunder. Just those 3 dudes. Denver had 63 rebounds.
Oof.
That's insane. That's an insane number. They had 21 offensive boards to 13 for Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I mean, the pace of that game is crazy too, to have one team have 95 shot attempts and the other team have 100.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, really a fast-paced game.
104.2 pace, 104 possessions.
Yeah.
For 48 minutes is a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about this before. Like, do they have an answer for Jokic?
They might not. Like, yeah. Isaiah Hartenstein, God bless him, but no. He's not. Like, salute to Ivica Zubac for being as effective as he was against Jokic.
Yeah.
And quote-unquote holding him down. But yeah, that might just be a problem. Like, Jokic is still a force of nature, and that might just be it. The reason I'm less concerned about the Celtics is they had Derek White hit a 3 with 6:47 to go. Then Derek White blocks a Karl Anthony Towns layup. Al Horford makes a dunk on the other end. Knicks timeout with 6:19 to go in a 20-point game.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, they come out Josh Hart 3, OG Anunoby 3, OG Anunoby 3. Mitchell Robinson free throw.
Well, they kept fouling Mitchell Robinson, and Mitchell Robinson was bad.
Really bad. Really, really tough.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. And that the Knicks played with a force Boston wasn't ready for. But I don't think they played with a force that Boston can't keep up with. I think Boston went up 20 and kicked their feet up.
Yeah.
And they started, because in that stretch where it's Josh Hart 3, OG Anunoby 3, OG Anunoby 3, Mitchell Robinson free throw, you had a Derek White made 3, a Jaylen Brown missed 3, a Derek White missed 3. Then their next offensive possession, Al Horford missed 3, Sam Hauser missed 3, Jason Tatum makes a couple, Sam Hauser missed 3, Jason Tatum missed 3, turnover by Peyton Pritchard, Al Horford missed 3. Like, they just could not make any shots.
But that's the problem. When you shoot 60 threes a game or like 50 something threes a game just on the season, like it doesn't take an entire game of going cold, because they still hit 15 threes. You look, you go, man, you hit 15 threes.
Yeah.
You know, oh, they only hit 17. You only got outscored at the 3-point line by 6 points. But there's a big difference of 17 of 37, where they missed 23s, and 15 of 60.
Yeah.
They missed 45 threes, man.
Yeah.
So, like, I know
that's
this
so crazy. That's so many.
It is so many.
It's 11 a quarter.
you hit 15 threes, and you missed 3 times as many as you took.
They missed 11 threes per quarter.
Yeah. I don't know what,
but that is that's their offense.
It's who they are.
Right. That is what Joe Mazzulla wants to do. They have guys that are capable 3-point shooters, and they want to exploit the hell out of that. But we saw this with Golden State. It's a huge problem that the Rockets gave Golden State, and I think it's a huge problem the Timberwolves are going to give Golden State, is it's too easy to force them into, all right, hey, here's a Gary Payton II 3. Okay, here's a Draymond Green 3. Here's a Jimmy Butler 3. And they didn't have any recourse where they could get inside and get to the free throw line, stop a run.
Yeah.
And they hit enough shots, but Buddy Hield in particular hit enough shots in Game 7 to win. But I do wonder if that's going to be a little bit of a problem for Boston, is if the Knicks get hot, and they're not hitting from 3, what's your recourse? Is it just to keep blazing away? Or, hey, Jason Tatum's a really talented scorer. Can he put the ball on the deck and get to the rim and get to the line? Can he stop the bleeding that way? That's, I think, the adjustment for Boston. I know you don't want to get away from who you are too much, but in that spot where you're watching your lead go from 20 to 16 to 15 to 13 to 8 in the span of 4 minutes, you got to have some other answer than missing threes.
Yeah, someone in the chats, Albert, said that 19 of 20 Boston shots in the third quarter were threes.
Good God.
Man, it's not sustainable. And here's the other thing that, if you're watching the game,
that is outrageous.
The other part about that is Karl Anthony Towns picked up a 4th foul early and sat. He was sitting for a long stretch, and you didn't go inside. Like, you got Mitchell Robinson in there, and, again, what they did was Mitchell Robinson went 3 of 10 from the free throw line. So, but if all you have, like we talk about, like, do you have another pitch? I'm starting to worry whether Boston has another pitch outside of just hoisting up 3 after 3. It does not make any sense that you got Cat in foul trouble and you didn't just go to the basket. So,
and even if Cat's in the game, is anybody worried about Karl Anthony Towns, the rim protector?
No, but at least, like, if you're trying to go small, he's able,
a body.
Yeah,
sure. But Karl Anthony Towns shouldn't be stopping Jason freaking Tatum or Jaylen Brown from getting to the rack.
Nope. And every time they did, they got him in foul trouble.
And right. And I'm not, and again, I'm not a don't shoot threes guy. Shoot your threes.
Yeah.
But when you are, here's their threes by quarter. In the fourth quarter, they went 2 for 15 from 3. 15 of their 21 shots were threes. They went 4 for 21 from the field. They shot 19% in the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, we already talked about, they went 7 of 19, 8 for 20 from the field. In the second quarter, 1 for 9 from 3. And in the first quarter, they were 4 for 14 from 3. Like, when you're ice cold, especially 2 for 15 in the fourth quarter, in a game that's slipping away from you, go to the attack. They're like, don't try and go at OG Anunoby. Here, this stat is unbelievable. Tommy Beers tweeted this out today. Celtics starters when guarded by OG Anunoby yesterday went 1 for 15.
Oh,
maybe instead of trying OG Anunoby on the perimeter, maybe try Karl Anthony Towns inside.
Yep.
Maybe try Mitchell Robinson. Do something other than miss threes.
Yeah.
And again, I know they're going to shoot their threes. I'm not naive to the fact that that's Boston's offense, but if that's going to continue to be their answer to everything, then they might be in trouble because now you're putting it on. Oh, at some point we're going to make threes.
Yeah, at some point they're going to go 22 for 60 in the
right. Yeah, and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not moving off of Boston yet as the favorite in the East, but I think this series is going to give them a little more trouble than I thought it would. Mm-hmm. I went in thinking Boston in 5, they might lose game 3 or 4, and they'll win in 5. It might not be that easy.
No, I agree.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple of playoff games tonight, and the A's are surging. If you're a baseball fan that wants a baseball team, a Major League Baseball team here in Sacramento, you need to be at these next 2 games. We'll tell you why next. That's James Ham, I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil's here. We're the Insiders. Jiffy Lube sponsors this program on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader.
Someone asked how was Jaylen Brown's knee. I mean, dude played 45 minutes. Physical, man. He is like, I guess Amen Thompson could be another player comp for Jaylen Brown. Could be another player comp.
Yeah.
You know, I think again, Jaylen Brown shoots more threes, but it's because that's their offense. But when I love when he just goes like out in transition. He'll go pin a guard down in the post, call for a ball, catch, and lay it up.
Go watch the first 8 minutes of their game against the Kings in Boston.
Yeah.
Might have been 8. It might have been like 6. That's what they did. It was like, cool, Keon Ellis is on me. I'm going to go to the low block, give it to me, score.
Yeah.
And then they just went away from it.
Yeah, I don't get the obsession. I mean, I understand taking 3-pointers, but to this degree, especially when things go south, like I'm not super cool with it. See, I did start something earlier. This Paul George hasn't reached the heights of Shea.
No, I started that. I want to get to it.
Okay, cool. And then you see the other one I started, sort of the same thing. It could be part of that discussion we're going to have.
Yeah. I agree.
Cool.
This is Johnny Does It. Jacob Wilson, I know we talked about this before. We geeked out over Jacob Wilson's contact stats, but bro, I can't get over it. He's 19th in swing rate.
Yeah.
And 3rd in contact rate. He has a 91.9% contact rate, which is bonkers. The next highest in the top 20 is 83.8% contact rate. And that's from the 20th guy in swing rate.
So I was, the wife put on Conclave last night. We were watching that, and I had the A's game on, just on my phone and I watched him rope the single that scored the run to tie it in the 10th. And then I fell asleep. My phone was dead. Ran out of battery.
Oh,
yeah. But I was exhausted. It was a long day yesterday.
That's money. That's mother effing money. Let me show you how you love me.
I'm going to have to go get coffee at the next break. Hopefully their meeting is over.
It is.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm. That's so wild. Jacob Wilson ties it in the 10th, wins it in the 11th. Ridiculous.
Oh, he won it in the 11th?
Yeah.
They made such a bad decision.
Yeah. They intentionally walked JJ Bleday to get to Jacob Wilson.
Didn't they walk did they walk two guys?
Yeah.
Langoliers too, right?
Yeah, because Urshela bunted over Soderstrom. So they walked Langoliers and Bleday to load the bases.
And then I saw when Wilson got the hit, he gave the Mariners dugout a good little stare on his run to first base.
That's so good.
Love to see that.
That's so good.
He's just an incredible hitter. Like, just wild.
Yeah, not a lot of dudes that make contact like that anymore.
No. Yeah, they realistically, I mean, he has got to be your 2-hole hitter. Like, I just don't get it. I understand trying to get as many at bats for your power hitters as possible, but batting him 1 and 2 to me is weird. Like, maybe the stats just show it.
That's it. That's literally it. There's centuries of data.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James is over there. I'm Kyle, Joe Brazil behind the glass. We're here till noon, and D'Lo and KC will take over on Sacramento Sports Leader. Thank you, everybody, on 1320 AM and 98.5 FM HD2. Everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch. Maybe you're on the free Odyssey app. Maybe you're listening to the James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show podcast. Either way, we appreciate all of you very, very much. The Elk Grove Kid talk line is 916-909-1320. That's 916-909-1320. Here's the deal, man. We're going to talk a little baseball, and then we'll get back into basketball. Also, John Lynch had an update on Brock Purdy's contract situation I want to get into. If you are regardless of how you feel about the A's or John Fisher, or maybe you're a Giants fan, or maybe you're a Cubs fan, or a different kind of fan. If you are a person who wants there to be Major League Baseball permanently in Sacramento, there's a lot of ways that could go. But if you're a person who permanently wants baseball in Sacramento, and you're viewing this less as like, oh, hey, the A's are here, and more as like, oh, hey, there's a Major League Baseball team here. This could be the audition. This is a tryout, ostensibly, that Nashville won't get, that Salt Lake City won't get, that Portland won't get. All these cities that don't have Major League Baseball, that want Major League Baseball. You have to get out to these next 2 games. These are as early May games go. Here's the stakes. The A's are 1 game back of the AL West lead. The team they're chasing is the Mariners, who they beat in extra innings last night. So they are now a game back. They have 2 games left against the Mariners here in West Sacramento. The A's have won 10 of their last 13. They've won 3 consecutive series. These are the kind of games where I know it's May, I know it's going to be Tuesday, and I know it's going to be Wednesday afternoon. But these are the games where, man, if you can get out there on a Tuesday night against the Seattle Mariners, and you get out there on a Wednesday afternoon against the Seattle Mariners, and one of those wins ties you with the AL West lead, or for the AL West lead, and the next one gives you the AL West lead, that's where you start building some momentum as a Major League Baseball city and showing out in that way. So if you were ever considering going to an A's game and you want there to be Major League Baseball here, I think this is a really, really prime opportunity to show out.
Oh, I totally agree. Like, look, this team is incredible on the road. They're 13-7 on the road. They have the best road record in Major League Baseball right now. And they are not very good at home. And a part of that is just getting acclimated to a new park and sort of all that comes with like hosting in a minor league park. But this is a team that, I mean, they're on fire, man. And they have so many like exciting young players to watch. You know, we're talking about Jacob Wilson at the break, but you've got Lawrence Butler, you've got like their pitching is coming around. You know, Soderstrom is like still like crushing the ball. He's stuck at 9 home runs, but still hitting the ball hard. Like this team has so much potential at almost every position that you can see an outline of a team that maybe it's not this year where they're a high level playoff team. Maybe it is, but certainly next year and the year after, this team is building something. And if you want Major League Baseball, Kyle, that's a really good point. If you want Major League Baseball here in Sacramento, this is a time to support them. And I don't know like what the attendance has been like game in and game out at this point, but I also think that there was a lot of press about how expensive tickets were. And that may have scared like a lot of people off.
Sure.
And you probably need to go check out and see if you can get tickets for cheaper than what you thought.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah.
And again, even if you're an anti-A's ownership person or not an A's fan, but you know, you want Major League, like this is the time to get out there. This is the time.
Yeah.
And just to back up your point, Tyler Soderstrom, and I'm going to use the wins above replacement metric from Baseball Reference here, just as a catch-all stat. I don't believe that WAR is the end-all be-all of statistics, but I'm just using it as a catch-all stat for this. The A's leader in WAR is Tyler Soderstrom. He's 23 years old. Second place on the team in WAR is Jacob Wilson. He's 23 years old. Luis Arias, third on the team, 28 years old. Lawrence Butler, fourth. He's 24 years old. Then there's Brent Rooker. He's the old man of the team. He's 30. He's fifth. Tied with him is JJ Bleday, who's 27. Shea Langolier is right behind them at 27. This is a young team that is starting to get outs a little more consistently. And it would not shock me if they're playing in October. Or playing deep into because I think they have regular season games scheduled in like the first week of October.
Okay.
But playing playoff games in October.
Yeah.
At the way they're growing, the way their trajectory is heading, how aggressive they've been willing to be in the trade market to improve their team when they think they're going to be good, i.e. trading Yoenis Cespedes for John Lester. I think they'll be active at the trade deadline this year if they're there in the mix. So, like I said, there's a very, very fun team here.
Yeah, and we haven't Nick Kurtz, their first round pick from last year,
22
he's 22 years old. He's batting .275. He hasn't hit a home run yet. Once that dude hits his first home run, it's on. Because he's just getting acclimated. Right now, he's got 3 walks and 18 strikeouts and 45 plate appearances. So he's got a lot of swing and misses.
Figuring it out.
Oh, he'll figure it out. And the fact that he's still batting .275, despite, just coming up from the minor leagues. And he got drafted 9 months ago. Like, this is... Once he starts rolling, you're going to be like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And they're going to have... That's a true cleanup hitter. Yeah. And yeah, like this team is built for the long term. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yep. That's our pitch for the A's.
Yeah.
What?
Where are you going to go?
Right. Just shifting gears back to basketball here. Speaking of teams leaving and players leaving. When the Milwaukee Bucks blew an overtime lead or blew a late lead against the Indiana Pacers in Game 5 of that first round series, we all knew, okay, hey, this might be the summer of Giannis. This is 3 consecutive first round exits, and for a guy who we know
I'm a winner,
is a winner, it wouldn't shock anybody if he asked out.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost 3 times in the first round. Straight.
3 years in a row in the first round. And I know Giannis did his whole thing. I actually really liked his answer. If you've never seen it, go look it up. It's the long answer he gives when somebody asks if Giannis felt like it was a failure that they lost in the first round. I think it was 2 years ago. And he did this whole thing about how, do you get a promotion every year in your job? No. Is every year a failure? No. Like, just because you failed or just because you fell short of the championship doesn't mean your year was a failure. You're trying to get better, and these are the blah, blah. Is a really, really cool answer. But there's also a limit on that.
Yeah.
You can say that once or twice when you get to 3 years in a row. So anyways, a stunner from Howard Beck on the Zach Lowe Show. The Zach Lowe podcast is back. On the Zach Lowe Show. Giannis Antetokounmpo has markets he would like to play in. You'll never guess what those markets are, James.
Well, let's hear what they are, because I'm going to guess they're all big markets.
Maybe you could guess them. Los Angeles, New York, or Miami? What? I love Howard Beck. Howard Beck is phenomenal.
Yep.
He does a great job covering the league. He has for a long time. He's been on the show. He's a friend of this program. We might get him on soon. Love having Howard on. I did not need Howard Beck to tell me this information. I did not need Howard Beck to report that Giannis would like to go to Miami, LA, or New York. Was that a surprise to anyone? Is anyone shocked that Giannis wasn't like, oh, Memphis? Maybe it's a little bit of news because Houston has been the team that everybody has circled. And of course, Oklahoma City, with all their players and all their assets, could really go make a play for him. The question I have with Giannis and those teams, okay, let's just assume he just wants to be in the market. Let's say he doesn't have a preference, Lakers or Clippers, doesn't have a preference, Knicks or Nets, doesn't have, I guess Miami just has the one team, but doesn't have a preference. We got to step aside and we can talk about this. But the danger you run here is by trading for Giannis, you just become the Bucks. And I don't think anything any of those teams and any of those markets can do is going to help him get closer to where he wants to go. Yeah. But we'll keep talking about that because the summer of Giannis is upon us. We got more NBA playoffs coming. And John Lynch had an update on Brock Purdy that there's no deal done, but it's good news. It's still good news, even if it's not news. We'll tell you why. That's James Ham, Kyle Madsen, Joe Brazil's Behind the Glass. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We got an hour left on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Theater. Oh, I did not see TC. Let him know that we'll get to it. That's money. That's money. Yeah, Nick Kurtz is a hoss, as the youths say. I don't think the youths say hoss. I think
the
people say hoss, as the olds say.
I have a resident young person update.
Oh, thank
Pop
you.
Culture.
Yes, hello, Joe.
Hello.
And now here's Joe Brazil with your young person update.
Young person update of the day. So everyone was all excited about the new Grand Theft Auto. It got pushed back, got delayed all the way back.
As it does.
Yeah, that's fine. But they did release, they said, okay, yeah, it's not happening until May. But here's a new trailer, which is it's a very big deal for
I saw
youngins.
some of the screenshots. It looks unbelievable.
Unreal. And we saw that coming. But some screenshots from the actual trailer looks like real life.
It does.
Yeah. No,
it's crazy.
Like genuinely.
So I have a question for you as an old person, and I don't say this flippantly. Like I'm not a video game guy. I don't look down on video game people.
Oh no,
I just don't. I don't mean this, like I said, to be disrespectful or anything. As an outsider, the GTA franchise has big Fast and the Furious energy to me.
Okay.
Where it's sort of just the same thing.
Okay.
In different packaging.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Like, I know there's a through line to the Fast and the Furious movies, and I'm not caught up, and I know there's a storyline to all of them. But I couldn't discern any of the trailers from any of the other trailers.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So is there a storyline? Is there a through line? Is it?
Yeah, it's so I totally understand why you think that.
When I started playing GTA, it was you run around and beat the hell out of people.
Yeah, no, there's a little bit more to it. Like 4 was like you were like you came off a boat from Russia or something. You had to make your own life.
Okay.
5 was you played as 3 different people. Pretty cool or whatever. And then this one's gonna be Bonnie and Clyde. So
that's
not
sick.
actually Bonnie and Clyde, but
same idea.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fun.
So it'll be cool.
That's dope. Love that for you and everybody who plays GTA. Fingers crossed, no more pushbacks.
It's gonna be a year from now, anyways, so it's all good.
Speaking of video games, and thank you for the young person update of the day. That is Joe Brazil, everybody. I am now one episode behind on Last of Us.
I am too.
I caught all the way up except for this Sunday's episode.
I have not seen this Sunday.
What a program. I understand why Mrs. Ham punted.
Yeah.
It's not an easy watch. Like, it is not a play. I am straight up not having a good time watching that show.
No.
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good TV. I want to watch the next episode, but it's just not a fun. I don't have a good time watching it.
No. No, it's hard. Like, you
it-
get done. Like, there are some episodes that are just like stunning. And then there are other episodes that are just like really brutal.
That game is soul crushing, and I've only seen the first season, but I could only imagine.
I guess the second, and again, not a video game guy, so I don't mean to. Apparently, the second season way diverges from the game.
That's what I heard.
In a way, the first season did not.
I don't know. I'll watch it and I'll let you know. But the game itself,
I'm loving
amazing
the second
story.
season.
Amazing story from the game.
Sure.
Mm.
Is it? I'll ask you.
Someone, let me see who this is.
Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil spinning on the ones and twos. We're hanging out with you till noon. Then we'll hand it off to D'Lo and KC. Thank you, everybody listening on 1320 AM or 98.5 FM HD2. People watching on YouTube and Twitch. Everybody in the chatty house on YouTube and Twitch. Free Odyssey app people. James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show podcast people. Salute to all of you. We appreciate you for rocking with us on this Tuesday, May 6th. Real quick, we were talking at the break about TV shows. I'm caught up on The Last of Us, save for the most recent episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not. I caught up, but then did not watch on Sunday.
I kind of feel like
Does that make sense?
It's a show you cannot do spoilers. You don't want to talk about like what happens, even if it's like 2 weeks ago.
Right, because it's constantly
Absolutely.
taking like hard left turns, and you're just out of nowhere. Shocking things are happening. So I don't want to. Again, this is spoiler free. We were talking about this at the break. And if you would like to watch what goes on at the breaks, we're at youtube.com/ESPN1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Joe, as our resident young person and video game person, let's bring him back into the fold here. Joe Brazil, our producer. Is Last of Us the game done?
Ooh.
Is there one Last of Us game?
There's 2.
Okay, so there's Last of Us, and then like the rest of us.
No, part 2.
The rest of The Last of Us.
Part
oh,
2.
okay. The
They
Last
just-
of Us.
yeah, they
More of
just-
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us, but for real this time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's 2 a game and then a
Yes.
sequel to the game.
Yes.
Is it done? Did the storyline end? And again, I don't want to know spoiler. I don't want to know anything that happens.
I'm just gonna say no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That was all. I
just
just
gonna
wanted
say
to
no.
finish. I'm sorry, everybody listening on the radio who's like, "What's going on?" I tried to bring you into the conversation, but anyways, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say no.
Cool. Appreciate you. Thanks, Joe. Shout out to The Last of Us. If you're into television that's not a fun time to watch, go ahead and give it a view.
I mean, it's really, really good. It's just
outstanding.
tough to watch.
Not an easy watch for sure. Wouldn't recommend it for children. Really tough in that.
Before we jump
in that
into
regard. Yeah.
the next topic, I am hearing some rumors, some movement on a potential return of Bobby Jackson to the Sacramento Kings. I have not got it confirmed that it is actually happening, but there is a source is telling me that not only Mike Woodson but Bobby Jackson could be back in the fold here.
Okay.
In Sacramento. So there's potential for Bobby Jackson to return and join Doug Christie's coaching staff.
That would be outstanding, not just for the vibes, because Bobby Jackson is a great vibes guy, but Bobby Jackson's also just a really good coach who has now gotten to separate himself from Sacramento, where he was on Nick Nurse's staff in Philly, and now coming back to Sacramento after being on Nick Nurse's staff. I imagine he would be even better prepared to be on a coaching staff at Doug Christie.
Well, and don't forget, he led the Stockton Kings for a year and led them to the best record in the G League and a playoff appearance. So yeah, we'll see.
Coach.
We'll see what happens. But hearing good news. Yeah, good things are coming.
Does that mean Nick Nurse is out in Philly?
No,
Or you think Bobby's just
I don't think so. But I think that
getting a little
there's
upgrade,
always like open.
promotion?
Yeah, there's always potential for open doors, stuff like that. So
And
yeah,
so NFL,
should get interesting.
The NFL assistant coach thing is weird too, because a lot of assistant coaches are on year-to-year contracts.
Mhm.
But then sometimes an assistant coach will get a 2-year contract.
A lot of them are on deals that coincide with the head coach, like your lead assistant. But even that is always sketchy because those guys,
Right.
like if a major job, like if they get a head coaching job interview,
Mhm.
you usually allow them to go do that. And if they get the head coaching job, you know,
I don't think you can block them from taking a interview for a promotion.
you're probably right.
If
Yeah.
if I'm a D-line coach and somebody wants to interview me to be the defensive coordinator, Kyle Shanahan can't block that.
Yeah.
But if I'm
Okay.
a D-line coach and I'm under contract and another team wants to interview me to be their tight ends coach, they can block that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Anyways,
I also like people ask about guys like Brad Miller, and I don't know if you're just being funny, Cast Digital Media here.
I think that's a good question though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look,
Well, a good thing to address. Like this isn't just stacking
Yeah.
up random former Kings.
no, like if Brad Miller wanted to be an NBA coach, he's had more than a decade, probably 15 years since he's played to go be an NBA coach.
Mhm.
He's not an NBA coach, and he's not an NBA coach because it's just not his career path after.
Mhm.
You know, he's done like outdoor network stuff and like hunting and fishing and all that stuff. And I'd say the same thing with Chris Webber. Like if Chris Webber wanted to be an NBA coach, he's had plenty of time. He's been around the game. You know, if he wanted to get back in the game, like I'm sure that there's a way that he could probably get a job as an assistant somewhere. But you know, it starts with going to camps and doing
Exactly.
like Pete Newell big man camp. But there's also the NBA does a really good job of putting on all kinds of like assistant coaching camps
Sure.
to teach, you know, whether it's young guys that are leaving college and are like, hey, I'm not going to be a pro, but I might be able to be like a development coach that works his way up, or, you know, all that stuff. The NBA has all kinds of like pathways.
Sure.
And the fact that like we haven't seen a Chris Webber go through that pathway, or you haven't seen a Brad Miller go through that pathway, usually means that they're not going to do that. That's just not who they are.
Yeah.
And you don't just like go from out of the game and then like, hey, I want to be an assistant on your staff. And it's like, what are you bringing to the table? Because this is
like I played. It doesn't
No.
mean anything. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're worth a damn as a coach.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot of people who have played, you know,
Yeah.
and there are people that you play with. So like Garrett Temple, of all the players that I've covered, is probably like the 40th best player, maybe, if that.
That would be a really fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Is just rank all the players you've covered.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Not right now, not on the fly. We would prepare for it. But
No,
yeah,
of course.
sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
But, you know,
40th
maybe,
best sounds about right for Garrett Temple.
yeah, and it might be a little lower. It might be a little bit higher. I'm going to guess.
I'm going 40.
I'm probably
40 is a
going to
good
say
starting point
a
for
little bit
Garrett-
lower
for
too.
GT.
But there are some guys that you just know, like if you're around them, that you would love to have them on your staff, that they communicate well, that they connect. They connect to players and especially their leaders when they're there. And it's always, you know, made the reference before about like Major League Baseball, like catchers. Doesn't matter how good of a catcher you are, there's probably a good chance you're going to be a good coach. Because
Sure.
like a lot of Major League you know, managers are former catchers.
Mhm.
But there are players in the NBA that you know when you're around them, oh man, this dude's totally going to be a coach.
Yeah.
Like they've just got that.
If they
wanted to, yeah, when they're all done playing. And I mean, Garrett keeps playing and people keep paying him $3 to $5 million a year. Like, why not?
To ostensibly be a coach.
Yeah.
that's kind of it. I feel like if you're going to coach, that's a thing that, like you mentioned, when Doug Christie was working in TV, he talked about wanting to coach. Like that was a thing that he had decided, and he had coached his kid at that point, right?
Yeah, but he did training with young players.
Right. So he had some experience in the coach.
Mhm.
I don't think you're going to go from being Brad Miller and vibing out at courtside at Kings games to like, oh yeah, I'm going to go be a coach now because Doug and Bobby are doing it. Like, no, Doug and Bobby are very well qualified to do this.
Yeah.
Brad Miller, God love him, is not qualified to be an NBA coach right now.
Well, that's always been my sort of like complaint with the anti Doug Christie crowd. Like, oh, like we're just doing a favor or just like what exactly are you talking about? Like Doug Christie spent 3.5 years as an assistant.
Mhm.
Not only that, but he's been back in the game for like 6 or 7 years. When you're part of the TV crew and you're
Mhm.
doing games, like especially when he became the lead analyst, he traveled with the team for like 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
Like you're in it. You're
Mhm.
having conversations with players on the daily. So, I mean, you're sitting on team planes with sometimes you're in the front or they have a section for you
Yeah.
and you're not part of the rest.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're not at practices or shoot rounds and all that stuff and having conversations. Like
Yeah.
Doug has been back in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
And like to where a guy like JJ Redick was, a podcaster after his playing career and then did some TV work for like a year and then boom, he's a head coach of the Lakers. That's a little sudden, but at least Doug did put in like 3.5 years as an assistant.
JJ Redick got his job because he did an interview / podcast with LeBron James. That I think was what happened there.
Yeah.
But we've also seen that not work out. Like, I know Steve Kerr was in the front office with the Suns, and then he was a broadcaster, and then he went into coaching, and that has worked out. But remember, Steve Nash did some player development type stuff with the Warriors and was just kind of around, and then went to be the coach of the Nets. Didn't work out.
No.
The bottom line is, Doug is qualified.
Yeah.
For that job. Bobby Jackson is very qualified to be an assistant coach. They're not just going to start calling random ex-Kings because that's the vibe.
Hey, look at that. Our friend Sean Cunningham from KCRA3.
KCRA3, Sean Cunningham. Yeah.
In addition to Mike Woodson joining Doug Christie's staff, I've had multiple sources tell me that Bobby Jackson has will indeed return to the Sacramento Kings as an assistant. So again, that's what we're hearing right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We'll let you know when that's official or confirmed. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah. That's where I was going to go next. Let's go to the Oak Grove Kid Talk on 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. Talked a lot about Giannis, the summer of Giannis, but TC's got a different Milwaukee Buck we should be focused on. What's up, TC?
Yes, sir. Hey, what's up with my two guys, Kyle and Hammer?
What's up, dude?
Hey, man, check it out. Hey, vibes is up, bro. So check it out. Hey, this where I'm at with it, bro. Like, I know Giannis sets out the picture. So I'm really leaning James. I'm really leaning towards Bobby Porter's. Answer this. You too, Kyle. I believe he's a free agent. If not, I'm really toward that stretch for Bobby Portis or Naz Reid. I know Naz Reid is opting out, bro, but that's our stretch four that we need. That Keegan can move back to the 3. Domas can stay at the 5 if we're going to keep him. And then we can piece around that, bro. But those two dudes, bro, if I'm Scott Perry and Doug, I'm trying to get, bro, like right now, today, because that's the perfect fit.
No doubt. Thanks for the call, TC. Just to confirm, Bobby Portis has a $13.4 million player option. My guess is he opts out of that because he will receive more than that on the open market entering his age 30 season.
Yeah.
So should be an option for the Kings.
Yes.
I don't know if they can afford it, but that is a player, the exact type of player we talk about. Knows his role, does the little things, can play the 5 in a pinch, plays defense, rebounds, can hit a 3. Bobby Portis is a name that I will have circled, and I think a lot of Kings fans will have circled this offseason. Naz Reid feels a little bit more, I don't know why, but Bobby Portis, well, I do know why. Bobby Portis feels much more attainable to me than Naz Reid. Naz Reid is on a trajectory to get a massive contract, I think, this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And Bobby Portis, I don't think he will get a massive deal. I think Naz Reid might get the type of deal where a team goes, hey, we think we can build around this guy. Bobby Portis is going to get a role player deal. He's going to get a really, really nice role player deal. But I think there's going to be a team out there that believes Naz Reid can be elevated above the role that he had in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Bobby gets. Bobby Portis averaged 13.9 points, 8.4 rebounds, 2.1 assists. He shot 36.5% from 3. His PER around a little under 18. Like, this is a really, really high quality player. He did have the suspension this year that kept him out for and he's coming off like last year. He was incredible, like 50% from the field, 51%, 40% from 3. Like he checks all the boxes for me. He's mean. You know, the Kings could use like that type of personality on this team.
Yes, somebody with some kind of edge.
Yeah. And at 30, I think Bobby Portis is still going to get like 15 to 18 million a year.
Yeah.
That's not easy for the Kings to come up with. You would hope that like the mid-level exception should probably be closer to 14 million this year. That might be where Bobby Portis kind of like, if a team is going to sign him, there might be a handful of teams with free agent money. I don't know that they're going to spend it on a 30-year-old Bobby Portis as opposed to a mid-level exception, which is, you know, you could do 14 and then 14 and a half and 15 and a half, 16, you know, whatever it is. It's going to work out to roughly a 3-year, $46 million deal. That would make sense to me if you're the Kings. But again, he's a player that I've kind of circled and been talking about for a year and a half. Like he would make a ton of sense on the Kings.
Yeah, man. And he's 30. He doesn't accelerate your timeline dramatically, but it's the exact type of player they need. And it makes you better. You can start, you can come off the bench,
he's been on a
winner.
winner.
He's won games, punched people in the face. He's been suspended for violating the NBA's anti-drug program. Like, it's fine. It's fine.
Everything's fine.
No, I like that. I like that idea from TC, and I think that's a player that a lot of people have circled for the Kings this offseason. If they can go get that type of player, that's where, okay, like I see the vision and how these pieces might fit, because now you have a player who is going to do the little things without needing the ball.
Yeah.
Does not need to have the ball in his hands. He's going to set a screen. He's going to grab a rebound. He's going to hit a corner 3. I think that would be very beneficial to the Kings to have Bobby Portis on their roster. We'll see if he even opts out, though, of his player option of $13.4 million with the Bucks.
Yep.
Anyways, we'll, of course, all offseason be following along with the Sacramento Kings, players they should go sign, players they could sign, trades they're involved in. Bobby Jackson, it sounds like, is going to join Mike Woodson on Doug Christie's coaching staff. We will have all the Kings news for you right here on ESPN 1320. James and I will have that on the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. And of course, D'Lo and KC will have that for you as well. Their show begins at noon, and they'll take you up to 4 o'clock each and every day here on ESPN 1320. Do you know what I have going on each and every day?
Oh,
Underdog lineups. Because Underdog is one of the best places to make picks during playoff basketball. But it's not just basketball. We've got baseball in full swing, NHL playoffs going on. We've got WNBA getting fired up. Now's a really, really good time to jump in on Underdog. Here's the lineup I'm rocking with tonight, because I needed to use my 40% profit boost token on a game 1. And Warriors, I had forgotten to use it yesterday. So Warriors Timberwolves is the only game 1 I have left to use my 40% profit boost token. And so I did. Here's what I'm rocking with. Steph Curry, he's 37 years old. They have played on consecutive or every other night for the last 5 games. I'm going lower than 26.5 points for Steph Curry. I think we had a slow game 1 from Steph. I think we might get a slow game 1 from the Warriors in general, but Steph Curry, I don't think he's going to put pedal to the metal and try and win this game 1. Julius Randle, I think the Warriors are going to have a hard time guarding him. I'm going higher than 20.5 points. At least they're going to have a hard time guarding him in game 1. Draymond Green, higher than 4.5 assists. Buddy Hield, I'm going lower than 2.5 made threes.
Oh,
yeah, I'm expecting the regression to the mean from Buddy. I'm going lower than 2.5 made threes. And then Naz Reid, I'm going higher than 10.5 points, because that's another player I think Golden State's going to have a little bit of a hard time guarding, especially early in the series when they're still trying to figure out their rotations against a very, very good Minnesota team. So that's my lineup tonight. I hope you play along with me. When you download the Underdog app, sign up with promo code KyleM. That's KYLEM to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code KyleM, KYLEM. And again, this is Underdog Daily Fantasy. Their pick'em game. You're picking higher or lower on at least 2 player stats, and then you can turn $1 into $1,000. Millions of people have won billions. I'm one of those millions. And some of my winnings have been some of those billions with Underdog. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. We did it.
We did it. Okay. There's also a rumor floating around that Darius Sangala will join Doug Christie's staff as well. He did spend 6 years on the San Antonio Spurs staff. And of course, is a former Sacramento King. I loved watching Darius Sangala play. Sort of in the same vein as who's that guy that played with the Warriors last year? And then Dario Saric. Like as a player. Yeah.
Is he with the Nuggets now?
Yeah, I think so.
$500 giveaway is over, by the way, guys.
It is.
Assistant coach Hato Turkoglu is not coming. I can assure you that.
Yeah, that's not going to
I can
happen.
assure you that's not going to be a thing.
Yeah. Darius is also part of the Lithuanian national team.
Oh, nice.
Like not as a player. I mean, he's 47 years old, but
oh,
yeah. So, I mean, I think that matters because he might have ties to Domas. I was reading a funny tweet earlier.
Sean Brockman, that's a name.
Where I put out that Monty McNair had actually received a second place vote
for executive of the year.
For executive of the year, one of the good folks and media members in Texas made sure everyone understood that Nico did not receive a vote at all.
That's where I would go wrong with if I was a voter for these things.
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% have done that for the bit.
Yeah.
Let's drop a little third place vote on Nico.
I mean, like, look, you're supposed to take it serious. Like, just.
I would take it serious, but all right, here, Sam Presti can have my first place vote. GM of the Pistons gonna have my second place vote, and here you go, Nico.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Former Kings abound on the Kings coaching staff.
That's what it sounds like.
Beginning with head coach Doug Christie.
Yeah, we're getting there.
What's the new name? Bobby Jackson, Mike Woodson.
Darius Sangala, of
course.
There's a possibility of Darius Sangala. Former King. I think his rookie season was like 2003. I want to say Michigan State. Am I wrong?
I'm looking it up right now for you.
Yeah.
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest. I knew it was green.
Wake Forest is not green at all.
What?
Yeah, Wake Forest is black and gold, dog. Demon Deacons.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn.
No.
Okay.
That's Malik Mustafa. Wake Forest legend. Darius Sangala.
Yeah.
Wake Forest legend. Sangaila.
Yeah. He spent 6 years on the San Antonio Spurs staff. So it wasn't that long ago that I saw him come through Sacramento, which was like, hey, look, it's Darius Sangala.
Al-Farouq Aminu went to Wake Forest. Muggsy Bogues went to Wake Forest.
Al-Farouq Aminu.
John Collins.
Is it
Wake Forest?
Randolph
Tim Duncan, of course.
Randolph Childress?
Ooh. Randolph Childress. Yes.
Yeah, he was so good in the tournament and at the college level, and then was not a good NBA player.
Jake LaRavia was at Wake Forest for a little bit.
That's true.
Chris Paul, obviously.
Oh, was Rodney Rogers?
Rodney Rogers was. Yep. Ish Smith, Jeff Teague. A lot of good players coming out of Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
What's going on in Wake Forest. Before we get to this NBA superstar thing remaining in the playoffs, John Lynch probably a couple days ago, was on an episode of Unbuttoned with Chris Sims and Ahmed Fareed. NBC Sports Bay Area legend Ahmed Fareed hosts that podcast with Chris Sims, and John Lynch was on it. And here's what he had to say about Brock Purdy's contract. Quote, "What I can tell you, is we're having really good, positive discussions. When it gets done, I'm not sure. Hope sooner rather than later, but hope is not a strategy. So we're making progress. We've had good discussions. Again, that's not, hey, a deal is right around the corner. We have no idea where they're at in that progress.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he says hope is not a strategy, I think that's been their strategy. I think their strategy in these negotiations with Nick Bosa, with Brandon Ayuk in particular, those two, where those negotiations went deep into August and in Bosa's case into September, I think they were hoping, okay, well, they'll come down eventually.
Yep.
We're going to sit on this number, and eventually we're going to just cross our fingers, and they're going to cut because we hold all the cards. And then Bosa was like, nope. And you wind up giving him the contract that you would have had to give him if you signed him at the start of training camp. So anyways, I think that's good news for the 49ers. The fact that they're having talks still and they're in discussions and those discussions are still positive is good news. It is imperative because John Lynch did a whole other thing where he talked about how Kyle Shanahan told all the players that, this is voluntary offseason workouts. But when we're at our best, we have 99% participation and this and that. And all these people showed up. Even George Kittle came in after missing the first couple of days, got his contract done, and now he's there. Brock Purdy is there. Okay, that's all great. If you have this contract negotiation bleed into training camp, where you either have Brock Purdy holding out or this is your number one story of training camp, now you have a problem. So they've recognized this. I think it's clear they've recognized that. And I think there is a concerted effort from the 49ers that hasn't been there in recent history with these big contract extensions to get this done way before training camp. And so that's the good news, even if there's not a agreement just yet.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, you got to get this thing done and get it. Like, this can't drag out. It's one thing to drag out wide receiver or defensive lineman. Your quarterback needs to be there.
That's 1,000%.
Like, he has to be there, and he has to be engaged, and he has to want to be there, and he has to be there leading the show.
Yeah,
that's the point. That's why he's the quarterback. Like,
yes.
You need him there, building chemistry with new receivers. Again, this team is going to have new receivers. You've got Ayuk, who's out for probably half the season, and Deebo Samuel is gone. Like, you need him there building chemistry, and like, this is a big deal. So get it done. Like, this is the one thing that kills me about these guys. The 49ers just do it every single year.
It's unbelievable.
It's like, so frustrating, but it cannot go on like that with Brock Purdy.
No, it's the being better with spending money has to be the goal way more than, hey, let's try and squeeze every cent out of these negotiations. Like, no, it's not that big of a deal if you're prudent with your draft picks, if you're hitting draft picks and you're prudent with your spending otherwise. It's just not that big of a deal to get a deal done in May. And the other aspect of this that sticks out, and then we'll get back to the NBA, is you talk about this as the quarterback. If you're going to present this person as the leader of your organization, because that's what the quarterback is. If you're going to present this person as the leader of your organization, and that's all we heard last year is how Brock Purdy had taken these steps as a leader, and it's his huddle, and it's his offense, and blah, blah, blah. That's great. Show it. The way you do that in pro sports is you pay people.
Yep.
But bottom line, whether the guy's playing for money or not, whether we care how much money they make or not, it's not my money. It's no skin off my nose, right? Like, that doesn't matter nearly as much as, hey, if you want to have a stable organization, you have to be able to put up a quarterback and go, this is the guy. So I thought what the Raiders did with Geno Smith was so smart. Hey, there's nobody that we like in the top 6 this year, so we're just going to take Ashton Genty. We're going to trade for Geno Smith so we don't have this Aiden O'Connell and Mac Jones battle or whatever the hell it would have turned into. Geno Smith is a viable, quality starting NFL quarterback. He's our guy right now. Like, this is just, there's that stability there.
Yep.
Whatever else is going on, okay, we'll figure it out. Quarterback, you're good. If you go into the offseason if you go into training camp with like, we're not really sure if we want to pay Brock a number that has a 5 in front of it. I want to pay him 50. We'll do 48. 52 is a little out of our price range. If that's where you're at, you should have made a move a long time ago.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So, okay, you're in this lane now. Whether you want to pay him 48 or 52 or 55 or whatever it is, you just got to get there and have that stability at that position.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So it sounds like they're trying to do that. And good on the 49ers, because if this goes into training camp, I don't think it's going to go well for them. It might not go well for them even if it doesn't. But
very true.
Give yourself a better chance if you get it done early.
Yep.
I wanted to talk about this a little bit yesterday as we shift gears back to the NBA playoffs. Because I watched Tyrese Halliburton have a really, really awesome game against Cleveland in Cleveland to start that second round series. And this is not like he didn't it's not like he dropped 50. His stat line in that game was he had 22 points, 13 assists, 3 boards, but he only had 1 turnover. He had 3 blocks, went 2 of 6 from 3, 9 of 15 from the field. I'm like, man, Tyrese Halliburton is the dude for the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
He's their number one. And I'm going, is that good enough? So I was kind of thinking, I got into this whole discussion with myself about who the best players are left in the playoffs and the number one for each playoff team. And I wanted to rank them.
Okay.
Because and again, this was sparked out of trying to figure out if Tyrese Halliburton was the Pacers' number one guy or if it was Pascal Siakam. But I think it's undeniably Tyrese Halliburton. Are we in agreement there?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, Siakam has had moments, but and he's been a great player throughout his career.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Halliburton is the head of the snake there.
Yeah, Miles Turner's another option, but
no. Okay, so I would say this, like Indiana, the way they're built with a bunch of near all-star level or like all-stars, but not all NBA guys.
They have a roster that would work with Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah, I would put even at this point, if you want to throw DeMar DeRozan in there, like the 3 that the Kings have of Domantas Sabonis, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan. Mm-hmm. They're all 3 guys who have been all-stars, but they're not perennial all-stars. Mm-hmm. I'd say Domas is the closest to a star because he's the guy who, at least at this point in their career, who has been all-NBA multiple times. Right. DeMar has been all-NBA as well, but it's been a while. So for me, it's like you're looking at this group of players that like the Kings are built that way. They're not built with a LeBron James or Luka Doncic, which those guys just happen to be on the same team now. Or, a KD or, like one of the top like 6 stars in the league.
Yeah, they're not going to be top heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So for me, if we're here are the top players on each team that I landed on. And I don't think there's a ton of discussion to be had here.
Okay.
SGA for the Thunder.
Yep.
Nikola Jokic for the Nuggets.
Of course.
Anthony Edwards for the Timberwolves.
Yep.
Steph Curry for the Warriors.
Yep.
Donovan Mitchell for the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Halliburton for the Pacers.
Okay.
Jason Tatum for the Celtics.
Yep.
Jalen Brunson for the Knicks.
Yep.
I don't think there's any argument. There's really good players on all those teams. There's other really good players. Those to me are the undeniable number ones on all those teams.
Yeah, I would say like Kat and Jalen Brunson are like they're super close.
But Jalen Brunson's like, the dude.
He is the dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think Donovan Mitchell is on just a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
Darius Garland's going to have his moments. Evan Mobley's going to have his moments. He's the guy, though.
Yeah.
Last shot of the game, he's going to have the ball in his hands. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Of course.
Okay. I think I'm going to put Nikola Jokic at the top.
I agree with that.
I think you can say Shea had a better year this year if you want.
Statistically speaking, I mean, he scored more points, but it's
so close.
Talking about a 3-time MVP that bumped all of his numbers up and averaged almost 29 points a game and a triple-double. Like, he's pretty good.
A really good player.
Yeah, put up 42 and 22 in the first game.
Is SGA 2 for you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm there as well. And I think if you're putting anybody aside from one of those 2 guys at 1 and 2,
mm-hmm.
I think you've really got to do some mental gymnastics.
No, I would agree
because
100%.
This is remaining in this year's playoffs.
But this is where it gets interesting once you get done with these 2.
Really interesting at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you were choosing for the long term versus like today, who is it that you want running your team?
So we got 6 guys left. Ant, Steph, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brunson. Jason Tatum is 3 for me.
Okay.
And I don't. It's not as close as SGA and Jokic. He's not in that tier.
Okay.
But I think he might be. I invented this thing. It's called tiers. It's this thing I do.
It's never been done before.
No. No one's ever
Ever.
done tiers before. I think Jokic and SGA are the first tier. I think Jason Tatum is by himself in a second tier.
I'm going to actually kick back on that.
Okay.
I actually think, like, if there is one player out of this group that's left, it's Steph.
Even at 37.
Even at 37, he's the dude that if the Warriors are going to do anything, he's going to be the one that busts you up. I don't think that they have enough around him to make any sort of run here. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Draymond or Jimmy Butler.
Sure.
I just think it's just the steep drop off from once you get to Jimmy Butler to whether it's Draymond or whoever the next best player is so steep.
Yeah.
You know, defensively, yeah, Draymond is causing problems, but like in the playoffs, you got to be able to score.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's that. We could do a whole discussion about the Warriors and their inability to shoot the basketball, but I don't hate that. Are you putting Steph ahead of Tatum?
I would.
So here's my I'll hear an argument for Steph in a tier with him. But what Tatum does for the Celtics as a facilitator, as a scorer, what he does for them defensively, he's 27 now. I trust Jason Tatum. Man, do I?
I don't trust him more than Steph.
No, you're probably right. But
I mean, here's
the image I have. Here's, I guess, Steph was awesome in the fourth quarter against the Rockets. Right? He figured out a way to get to the basket a couple times, hit a couple of big threes, hit the dagger over Jalen Green, had an unbelievable game 1. But by that game 7, he looked 37. And he had his biggest impact was like, okay, it's winning time. Fourth quarter, here goes Steph. He's making all these awesome defensive plays, and he put up, I think he scored 14 in the fourth quarter, and slammed the door. I don't know that over another 7-game series. Are you
okay? So this would be my counterpoint.
Like, the peak is higher, but the consistency is lower.
Yeah, but the Rockets threw everything they had at one dude to slow him down.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And the surrounding cast of the Boston Celtics versus the Golden State Warriors, it's just not close.
It's not even close.
Yeah. If I had to choose, I had one game to play today. Who am I choosing? It's going to be Steph over Tatum.
That's an interesting way to look at this. Because
even if I say I have one series to win, and it's, you know, regardless of the rest of the players around them, you put them on whatever team. Like if you put Steph Curry on the Boston Celtics right now, he would average 18 3-point attempts per game.
It would be silly.
It would be ridiculous.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm probably biased against Steph because I'm trying so hard not to be biased for him. Because in my brain, I'm like, well, he's the best player on the list. What are we talking about? No, but I will put him in a tier with Tatum.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Now the next 4, like, how do we rank these guys though?
It's Ant, Mitchell, Halliburton, and Brunson are the next 4. I think. Ooh.
I'm gonna go weird
That's
here.
Tough.
I'm gonna go Mitchell, Ant, Brunson, Halliburton.
Mitchell, Ant, Brunson, Halliburton.
Yep.
I'm having a really hard time putting Brunson that low.
Well, I'd have a really tough time. Like the Ant thing, like he's so good.
He's awesome.
But
I want to put Ant 1.
Yeah, but you can put Ant 1. I'm just like, for me, I think Mitchell has been able to become a superstar and throttle back a little bit and allow his team to be really good as well in a way that, you know, I don't think these other guys are. You know, again, Halliburton, what he's done to set up his teammates is incredible, but he's been so hit and miss when it comes to shooting, when it comes to scoring.
That's really tough. Let's take this into the handoff.
Okay.
I believe D'Lo will be joining us today. Damian Barling, D'Lo and KC coming up next. We can take this into the handoff and try and sort this out the rest of the way, because this is a tougher list than I thought it was going to be. To be totally honest with you. So we'll continue this discussion. That's James Ham, Kyle Madsen, Joe Brazil on the ones and twos. We're the Insiders. Jiffy Lube sponsors the program. The handoff with Damian Barling coming up next on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Center. Yeah, man, I feel so bad saying this, and I don't mean this. I know we've given Tyrese Halliburton, because of daily fantasy, like, a lot of grief on our program and certainly on D'Lo and KC. And I don't mean this to be disrespectful in any way.
Yeah.
He is the clear-cut bottom of the list.
I would agree.
And I think that's more a testament to how good the rest of the best players are, more than, like, I don't mean that as a shot at Tyrese Halliburton.
I also think, I mean, when you put him in this list, like, very specifically, he's the guy who's running the craziest high potent offense, right? And so even in saying that, his numbers should be a little more bloated. That he should have, some fake numbers because of the style of play.
Sure.
Yeah. And he doesn't have, like, in the playoffs, he doesn't. A regular season, he certainly didn't. But, like, you would expect him to average more than 18.6 and 9.2. Like, they scored a ton of points.
What did we say that? Well, their pace is only a 98.1 in that game, but man, it seemed a lot faster than that.
Yeah.
They went 19 of 36 from three.
Yeah, so Halliburton in the series against Milwaukee averaged 17.6 and 11.6.
Man.
He shot 42% from the field and 26.8% from three.
And hit the game winner. Or series winner. Man.
He has some moments. I mean, I think he's wonderful.
Let me ask you this. And I'm asking this for Tyrese Halliburton, bottom tier for sure. This is true too. Tyrese Halliburton does make the guys around him better. I think if one of the teams that's down 0-1 right now won the next four, I think the Cavs are the team I would be least surprised did it.
If they won?
If they went 1 in 5 games.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that true? Or would I be more surprised? No, I think, they're second. Boston is the team I'd be least surprised if they won the next 4. As good as New York is or was in game 1, it just wouldn't shock me at all if Boston just kind of buttoned up and got their act together for the next 4 games.
Okay.
I don't think it will happen. It just wouldn't. It's the least surprising of the outcomes. Hey, it's Damian Barling.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
A little less than a minute left. Good timing.
Excellent.
So I'm bringing back an old bit we've done just to kind of loop you in on what we're doing. I'm bringing back an old bit we've done. It's this thing where we separate things into tiers. So we're going to rank them, but there's like tiers. So there's like a top tier of like the best version of a thing. And then like the second tier is not quite as good as tier 1, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Can I jump in, or you got stuff to do?
No, we're good. All right, party time.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Not just James Ham and Kyle Madsen, because, folks, it is 11:43 on a Tuesday, and that means it is time for the handoff with Damian Barling.
It's time now for the handoff. Taking the handoff from James and Kyle today, here's D'Lo, Damian Barling.
It sure is. Thanks for repeating me, voice guy. Oh my God, it's so loud. Hi, Damian.
What's up, man?
How are you?
I am excellent.
I'm glad you're here
Oh, that's good. That's nice to be one.
because we are taking every team's number one guy left in the playoffs.
Okay.
We're trying to rank them, put them into
Okay.
tiers. It's this thing that we do on this show,
Okay.
and no other show does tiers.
No.
It's just us.
We're the originator of tiers.
Mhm.
Indeed.
Yeah,
I've
you're
heard.
welcome.
I've heard.
Jokic won.
TEARS.
Well, that too.
Okay. Very good.
Jokic won SGA too, but they're in tier 1 together by themselves.
Okay.
Then we have 6
Are we
more
good with that?
players.
Here's the players we're working with.
Okay.
Jokic, SGA.
Yep.
Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
Do you want pen and paper?
I might need it. So Steph isn't in tier 1?
I had Steph. Well, no.
Ant-Man's not in tier 1.
No.
It's just Jokic and SGA.
Yeah, among the players left.
Thank you. No, I got it.
Like, they're all
I-
awesome.
No, for sure. So these are still elite tiers. Jokic and SGA are at the top.
Yeah.
I guess.
What are we thinking? What's
a
going
lot.
on?
There's a lot going.
I know.
Going. I had to format today's show a little bit different because KC isn't here, so
Oh,
I got to talk to myself a lot. And
would you like to go through this on your program?
no, I'm just. There's something about SGA and the Thunder, and this isn't reactionary. Like, I haven't been in on the Thunder all year.
Mhm.
And you can tell me about the defensive numbers and the offensive numbers, and they're great at everything. Like, no, I can read. Like, I see that, and I see it when I watch them. But what's the line that we always hear? Well, it's different. It's different when you get to the postseason.
Mhm.
And I recognize, like, I'm rooting for Denver now. Like, I'm actively
Ooh.
rooting for Denver because of Russell Westbrook. Like, I want Denver to
He's
win.
been so freaking good, by the way.
I want Denver. I will root for Denver every round for the rest of the way because I want Russell Westbrook to win a championship.
I'll also add to that, the David Adelman press conference in Sacramento was so incredible that, like, you're pulling for him as well.
And for those that was his first.
That was his
appearance
first-
as his first game as the coach was here in Sacramento.
Yeah, his first appearance as a head coach, and like, he stepped up and, like, gracious and just absolutely phenomenal.
So there's something about, but there's something about SGA that isn't sitting well with me. Like, we had a
Little front runner-ish?
Nah, not that. Like, Jesse posed the question in our notes, like, who can gain the most from like I think Jesse actually phrased it, can Anthony Edwards gain the most from a dominant postseason? And I tried to expand that thought a little bit and thought, okay, who are the guys who can gain the most? And I thought, obviously, Ant-Man is one of them. I think Tyrese is another one.
Big time.
And then I was like, well, okay, SGA. I was like, I don't think SGA gains anything from a bit. Like if Oklahoma City won the title, what are we saying about SGA?
That they did it.
But right,
It's
that's essentially it.
It's avoiding the, because if Oklahoma City loses to Denver, we're looking at Oklahoma City like, hey, that's looking kind of funny in the light.
So,
like, second round exit.
So that's it. So that's interesting because I feel like everyone, including Jesse and Kenny, are waiting for the Cavs to fail. They're almost expecting the Cleveland Cavaliers to fail. Cleveland has been not literally just as good as Oklahoma City, but figuratively just as good as Oklahoma City all year. And I don't feel like anyone is waiting for OKC to go, told you guys. I don't think anyone is doing that with them, but everyone is doing it with Cleveland. What's the difference between the two?
Whether this is logical or not, I don't think it is. But we've been watching Oklahoma City since 2023. So for 3 years now, basically, since the 22-23 season, going, oh, they're coming.
Yeah.
And then last year, or 2 years ago they lost in the play-in, right? And last year they lose in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we went, oh, but here's the ascension. Oh my God. Then they traded for Alex Caruso. Oh my God, they signed Isaiah Hyde.
But did we think they'd be here? Did we think that they'd be? They were like a 68 win team.
And maybe not 68 wins, but them being the 1 seed isn't a shock.
Well,
like
sure. I mean, given where they were last year,
I feel like Oklahoma City, and again, whether this is right or wrong, I'm not trying to disprove your point. I think Oklahoma City is viewed as this like culmination of Sam Presti's work.
Okay.
And oh my God,
Executive
they finally
of the year, Sam Presti.
Executive of the year, Sam Presti. Monty McNair also receiving votes. So
vote.
Also receiving vote.
It was Wes's.
So they're the culmination of the last couple of years and everyone kind of waiting on them to get there.
Okay.
Cleveland was like, oh, you're just the best team in the East right now. Oh, okay, that was out of nowhere. Like their ascension was so unexpected that I think now the general consensus is like, okay, but that's not real. Whereas Oklahoma City, we're going, oh, that's real because we've been expecting it.
I think it has a little bit to do with the fact that Cleveland went from 48 wins to 64, as opposed to OKC that went from 57 to 68. 57 is a great season.
But what did you just say? Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, they went and did. What did Cleveland do?
Kenny Atkinson.
Well, that they added on DeAndre Hunter.
They made a deadline though.
They made a change at the coaching position, which seems to have meant Coach of the Year. Kenny Atkinson seemed to have made all of the
Mike
difference
Brown
in the
not
world.
receiving votes.
Hard to imagine. What about Doug?
Don't think so.
Okay, but it's like, oh, okay. They made one change at the head coaching spot. They made one change at the very, very top, and it's like instead of we never look at coaches as this is the thing that they were missing. We always look at Alex Caruso. Man, what an addition by Oklahoma City. He was phenomenal last night, even in their loss. But I can't believe Denver won that game.
Unbelievable.
I cannot believe they won that game.
What was Mark Daigneault doing? I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. No.
That's a great question. I think they looked young. They looked inexperienced yesterday.
Yeah, they panicked.
Like that was, and like I give Mark Daigneault credit. He's like, whoops. It's like, well,
you guys want to quote?
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Like, okay, probably not to. Good accountability, I guess. But that's tough. Yeah. That's tough. But I feel like we discounted that change that they made from a team that maybe underperformed a little bit last year, which is why they won 48 games. Kenny Atkinson got them to the point where they're winning 60 plus. And maybe it's because Boston is over there. Maybe it's because Giannis and Milwaukee were kind of lurking around all year. Maybe it's because, people are really in love with the Indiana Pacers, who I think are very good and could absolutely wind up in the NBA Finals. But I think there was always a reason people were like, I'm not really buying Cleveland, when I felt like I looked at Oklahoma City like that the whole year. And so seeing SGA in the top tier, it's not so much that SGA doesn't belong there, because sometimes the conversation isn't like, okay, SGA, okay, he's a top tier player, but Anthony Edwards isn't. Or I'm sorry, the Warriors, our Dubs are dead.
You're a big Dubs guy.
They're not in this here in existence if it's not for Steph Curry.
Oh,
well, him too, but Buddy's in a tier by himself. There's tier 1, 2, 3, and then there's Buddy.
There's a Buddy tier.
There's a Buddy tier, and very few reach the Buddy tier. But I mean, and maybe this is my LeBron James syndrome. Like, I refuse to not acknowledge LeBron James as one of the best players in the league.
That's
fine. You could tell me he's 40. You could tell me he's 25.
He also got eliminated. So that's
no. I got you. But but it's the same mentality with Steph to me in this conversation. Okay. It's hard for me to not acknowledge that Steph isn't one of the top tier players left in the playoffs.
Jason Tatum go there?
See, it's tough. I'm telling you.
I had Tatum.
He does.
I had Tatum ahead of Steph.
Tatum absolutely goes in the top tier
because he's 27-year-old Steph versus 27-year-old Tatum. I'm taking Steph.
I think,
but for right now,
Tatum
how
like
good he
hurt
is
his wrist and
defensively.
then came back and he was averaging like 36 points a game.
Jason Tatum's awesome.
Yeah, like Tatum is.
He's really good. I just said if I've got to win a series, I would take Steph
That's
over
fair.
Tatum.
What's the
like,
difference?
Put him on whatever team.
Who would you take, SGA or Tatum?
Tatum. Ooh,
No, I take SGA.
I'm taking Tatum.
I don't think Tatum's ever taken the leap into superstar status.
Well, but you know why that is? And I think this is the case for both of them. I think Tatum is SGA's future. SGA has the fashion thing going, and some people, they do not care about that. James does not care about what SGA wears in, but it's a link that SGA has like to the streets, right?
Sure.
James is very anti-drip, but it's the link that he has to the streets, and he doesn't have a big personality. He has that, but he doesn't. Tatum's biggest thing is he's like a nerd.
I think
he's
SGA kind of is too.
He's like, bro, I did it. Like, all right, bro. God damn it. Like, if you have an ounce of charisma in you, has nothing to do with the level of basketball player he is. But we're used to with Jokic potentially being the lone exception, maybe in history. We're used to our stars having these big personalities, and he doesn't have. Jokic is just so historically good. People don't care that he's got the personality of an eraser.
Well, and his personality is not no personality. His personality makes it seem like he wants nothing to do with any of this.
Well, the fact that
and
he's cussing
like,
out his teammates every game now
that
is
was
awesome.
Incredible.
It's just great,
dude. That's where
and allegedly, I think Jokic might hate Jamal Murray too. We will discuss that next on D'Lo and Casey.
There it is. That's James Ham, Kyle Madsen, Joe Brazil on the ones and twos. The Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube, is back with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. We'll start at 10 a.m. tomorrow, I promise. Right here on ESPN 1320. That is Sacramento Sports Leader. Until then, drink water, be nice people. See ya!